Volume up. Let's get it real high, because I love this music. Tradscape. If you've never checked out his art, it is on Object, and also there's a piece or two on Ethereum. Tradscape, wonderful pixel artist. Welcome back, everyone. Artist Journal, March 14th, 2023, broadcasting from Berlin, Germany. My name is Adrian Pocobelli, and this is Strange Thing. Welcome back. Should be an action-packed show, as I'm going to run through it as usual. Should be a lot of fun. Look at this. I missed this. This came out, I think, on Sunday, March 12th. Today's the 14th, so yeah, on Sunday. Strange Thing with another kind of head-turning work. It almost looks like photography. Of course, it's AI, artificial intelligence, but it almost looks like photography. And again, it's the sort of thing that you could just imagine yourself walking into an institute. What is the photography institute here called? I think it's like CO galleries or something like this. I'm sure someone knows. We could look it up really quickly, but maybe we'll look tomorrow. But it is just something I could see in the front of in the front room of an institution. And it's so now. I mean, these look like riot police on their horses, but with a big corporate logo, wrapping up the face. And it looks like it says something there, justice or something in red. Again, the Nike logo here. And so super interesting, the Nike logo here. You wonder, I think Strange Thing once in a while uses a little bit of Photoshop, but I think this is mostly raw AI, and you can start to see it here. What looked like maybe there's a finger too many, but it's a little hard to say. And of course, that makes it even better. So really, you get the depth of field, and the pixelated faces. Interestingly, kind of a light pixelation, not a hard pixelation. So you can still kind of see what's going on there. Anyways, really cool work from Strange Thing as per usual. And this is called Roadman and Horses 2 ETH Reserve. There's already an offer for 1.25. And this is with Fellowship Gallery, and there's 26 works. We'll take a very quick look here. I quite like this. Speculative fashion. Again, kind of a Ballard, reference in my mind, where he called it speculative fiction because he was always grouped in with the science fiction authors. And yeah, he was okay with that, but ultimately that's what he liked to call it. And speculative fashion, that's probably Fellowship Gallery here describing Strange Things. So pretty interesting terminology there. And here's the series. So very interesting. We're going to take a closer look at a couple of these. These are great. They seem like they're right out of a fashion magazine here, don't they? And they probably are, in some respects. So anyways, this one sold, by the way, for 1.25. I think there was another one, this one here, also sold. So let's take a closer look. Roadman and Horses number 19. Quite like this one. It was sporting a Louis Vuitton speculative hoodie here with a horse in the background. And another one, again, just the vibe of like one of these, very, elite fashion magazines. It looks like a fashion ad. And you can totally see where it's going. Again, I'm kind of always back to this idea that if I was in the corporate world, if I was running this these corporations, I'm all over, asking this guy Strange Thing, if he wants to lend a hand. Because sometimes, to quote you too, sometimes it's even better than the real thing. Because it's not just another fashion shoot. If you were to have this as a real fashion shoot and this is the thing, to me it makes it even more interesting that it's AI. Just as like putting on your creative director hat, whatever, art director hat, whatever the case may be. So again, yeah, here's another one. Yeah, so beautiful. Now this one sold, for 1.25 ETH. So pretty cool and just interesting, again, in almost like what could be a suburban, backdrop of almost anywhere in the world these days, kind of 1970s building there. So very cool work from Strange Thing. Big shout out. A longtime viewer of the program, and I'm a longtime fan. You can go all the way back to, September, early September, when he broke out with that incredible work, Thug Lord, which in many ways I would still say is unsurpassed. And, well, who knows? I mean, we can all debate that, and who cares? But it's a fantastic work, which has aged very well, is what I am trying to say, dear viewer. So tomorrow, a Twitter Spaces with, I think, a very unique character in the NFT space, Drank Frazetta, aka Purple Drank, also known as Purple Drank. And he is going to join Runetoon and myself. Runetoon is also excited, as am I, to have Purple Drank, also known as Drank Frazetta, join us. It should be a good one, as I say here. We're going to talk about Bitcoin ordinals, which is kind of where Drank Frazetta has been making and creating, NFTs on Bitcoin. So I've been very curious about that. Of course, Sabato did one. So anyways, that'll be very interesting. But, Purple Drank just seems like he is very, in deep in the NFT culture. And as I'm putting it here, the spirit of the underground. I hope he doesn't mind that. I think that's pretty awesome. So anyways, check that out. It should be excellent. It says 2:30 here, but that's because in Berlin, there's only 5 hours for the next 2 weeks. It should be at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time in New York. So it is still at 9:30. This week and the next, it'll be 2:30 in Berlin, if you are listening from Europe. So a little earlier for Europeans. And continuing on. Okay, so comments. First of all, a beautiful comment from Flora Marquez, who I think I've been showing Flora's work since like January 1st on almost every show. And she was just talking about, I don't know if I can read the whole thing here. Let's read a little bit of it, though. And thank you for the kind words. She's saying it's important to let collectors and people know I'm here for the long run. And that is important. Like, I think, that's it's never really been a huge concern of mine when I collect. But I think for a lot of collectors, it is. Like for me, it's kind of the work is the work. And sometimes people make accidentally amazing works. Like I know as an artist, you can kind of make like really stunning works one day, and then like the next day, it's not like you can just necessarily, emulate that the next day. So I'm kind of a work by work sort of person. Of course, the artist matters, and it does matter if they're in for the long run. But I think for a lot of collectors, it is important. And so she's letting everybody know she's here for the long run. It is a calling for Flora, I think is what she's trying to say, as it is for many of us. I've been doing what I do for a long time, and I never want to mix art and work with economic income, rather, since I always had to give in on something. Yeah, I think so many of us can relate to this. There were always commissions with some kind of demands that put me in a place of discomfort. I can totally relate to this. Sometimes I get asked, and in the past I've done commissions, and I find them very... some people can do them beautifully, and it's a great business if you can. I find it a very hard thing to do, and not too much freedom. It's kind of, you're trying to make somebody else's ideas. The fun is almost taken out of it sometimes, unless you have a brilliant process where you can just kind of apply your process to it. So it really does depend. In the NFTs, I found the place to be free to do what I like, and also I can see some economic income that comes in handy and helps me to move forward. So I'm completely grateful for everything that is happening around what I do, and that includes you. Well, thank you, Flora. And yeah, I think a lot of us, you can tell just the fact that the economics are a second priority for Flora shows that she is, here for the long run, here for the art, so to speak. And I'm sure in the long run that pays anyway, Couple more just on the definitions of curation, which we're going to return to until we kind of have this figured out. Just very quickly here, Retro Manny, big shout out. Lamberski's definition would describe what it is I do. So writing is a form of curation, although I don't do it from a position of authority who, quote, knows the meaning of the word, end quote, as he says. When I select and present the work in spaces, I usually use the art I discover to narrate an overarching theme based on my understanding of the world and where the art fits into it or comments on it. And I think this is the kind of the common understanding of what curation is. And I sometimes wonder if Lamberski was kind of parsing hairs a little bit with, it's about writing more than anything. And I'm not even, and it's not about selecting JPEGs. And yeah, like I kind of take his point a little bit, and I think Retro Manny does as well. But sometimes it is about selection and creating a narrative. I mean, but again, then we saw the definition of curation being to care for. I think the Latin was curat or something, to care for, as we saw yesterday. And that's also another definition. So there can be more than one definition as well. There's kind of like the common parlance definition, which is, okay, I'm putting some works together to create a story. And then maybe in some cases it's to take care of a collection. And you're the curator of ancient Greek sculpture at the museum over here. Finally, let's speed up a bit here. I essentially use the art I discovered to narrate an overarching theme based on my own understanding of the world and where the art fits into it. But at the same time, that is one of the potential definitions, and I agree with what you say. The absolutist definition that pretty much dismisses other approaches has an air of art elitism to it, protecting the inner circle and ridiculing any other attempts to try out and take risks. Yeah, and there could be some of that in there too, couldn't there? The opposite of freedom, which Web3 is trying to head towards. Great video, love the series, keep it up, thank you. And finally, similar but different comment from Runetoon. The mid-Lamberski's comment about curation, especially since it is getting us to the question our own assumptions about. I respect mid-Lamberski's comment about curation, especially since it is getting us to question our own assumptions about the meaning of curation, and I totally echo this. That is why I show it, in a sense, because it was kind of a challenging definition, right? One I didn't expect, and said with a certain amount of authority. While I think he's right that the role of curator is more than arranging JPEGs or other things, I think that anybody and everybody who wishes to collect or present a collection is a curator, in the same way that anyone with a camera shooting photos is a photographer. Great analogy, but a great curator, a good curator, a serious curator, they should be more than just random arrangers. So, interesting, thoughtful comment from Runetoon. So, fascinating. And very quickly here, so I was calling it a triumph yesterday. I think you could still call them that, but they are Roman triumphal arches, is what I was getting at yesterday. These things here, and you can find them kind of spread across Europe. The Arc de Triomphe here, this is in Paris. So again, these, kind of phenomenal structures that, again, usually are for military victories. Let's just see here. Thought to have been invented by the Romans. The Roman triumphal arch was used to commemorate victorious generals or significant public events. And so, yeah, there's one right outside of the Colosseum in Rome. I think that's Trajan's, the Arch of Trajan, perhaps. So anyways, they're triumphal arches. Very cool. So I had to laugh when I opened my email this morning. There's art news. Today's top stories, March 13th. Well, I got it in the overnight. Today's top stories, was this NFT artist wrong to think she could be exhibited at the Louvre? So the story that won't go away is back, and now courtesy of Art News. Okay, so it is out there now. It's kind of funny because for us, we're kind of closing the book on this, but it's kind of bigger than ever. And there was a development here. So Art News, there wasn't too much new in here that we didn't already know. It's kind of a bit of a summary, without too many specifics, I might add, in the story, but whatever, that's okay. A summary of basically what took place in the last week that we've been kind of chronicling pretty closely here. Interestingly, though, I want to show you just this one line, because then Paris Blockchain actually finally replied, and we're going to look at the reply in a second here. But I want to look at this to show how these stories, it's almost like playing telephone. When 20 people are lined up, 20 kids are lined up, and then you say something at the start, and then you whisper it all the way across, and then by the 20th person, what's being said is completely different. Here's an example of that. To start at the beginning, Silver, referring to Claire Silver, who recently got representation with major talent agency WME, was approached by the organizers of Paris Blockchain Week with an invitation to exhibit her art as part of the conference scheduled for the end of March. So this is the first line of the story, of describing this story. which actually, so Paris Blockchain put out finally they put out a statement, and it's very legalish. It was Paris and probably purposefully legalish to say, if anybody's going to start spreading, falsehoods, it looks like it was written by a lawyer. And let me show you how. Right of reply. So this is, I looked this up. I'll look it up very quickly. Actually, we have to keep that open. Right of reply. Right of correction generally means the right to defend oneself against public criticism in the same venue where it was published. In some countries, such as Brazil, it is a legal or even constitutional right. So I think the real messaging here is this is illegal. This is written by lawyers. That's my theory, and that's why I think it took so long for it to come out. Because again, this was written on a Friday, those original tweets from Claire Silver and Super Chief. And so they probably needed a day, i.e. yesterday, Monday, to rate this thing, right? Because they're probably not going to work on the weekend. It wasn't, an emergency. Paris Blockchain Week would like to address the recent inaccurate and misleading statements concerning misrepresentation that have been circulating in the media. Paris Blockchain Week is an annual event hosted at the Carousel du Louvre for business-to-business professionals in the blockchain and Web3 ecosystem to ideate and drive progress. To confirm, the miscomprehension is not under the responsibility of Paris Blockchain Week. So it is not, unlike what was stated in previous tweets, it is actually not our responsibility, the miscomprehension that occurred on the Louvre. Paris Blockchain Week and Claire Silver have never had any business dealings, counter to what we just read in Art News, and neither party was aware of the other. So if we go back here, just to show you how stories get distorted, Silver, who recently got representation with WME, was approached by the organizers of Paris Blockchain Week. We just saw from Paris Blockchain Week that is false, with an invitation to exhibit her art as part of the conference, okay? So this is what Paris Blockchain Week has to say. First of all, never had any business dealings and neither party was aware of the other. Claire Silver 12 was working, you see how legalish this is? Not Claire Silver, the name, this entity, Claire Silver 12, was working with an agency. This is ambiguous. It's unclear. You'd think WME at first, but then you go, well, was that Super Chief? And understood that her artwork would be displayed in the Musée du Louvre. Paris Blockchain Week was working with this agency, who is still remaining nameless, providing exhibition space at the Carousel du Louvre for digital artists to showcase their work. So, very unclear who this agency is. But this agency was working with Paris Blockchain Week, providing exhibition space at the So this may be neither Super Chief nor WME. This could be just someone else, okay? The Paris Blockchain Week website homepage clearly promotes the event venue as the Carousel du Louvre. And this is the game over here. The contract signed by the agency clearly states that the exhibition space provided is at the Carousel du Louvre. The contract signed by the agency. So again, it's back to this nameless agency, but as far as Paris Blockchain Week is concerned, there is a contract. So this is game over as far as Paris Blockchain Week is concerned. Both Claire Silver 12 and Paris Blockchain Week are victims of misrepresentation. We'd like to clarify that these reports are not reflective of the truth and contain many inaccuracies. Paris Blockchain Week says, quote, "We understand the importance of transparency and honesty in all our dealings and want to assure our customers and communities that we have always been committed to upholding the highest standards of integrity and professionalism. We take this matter seriously and have conducted a thorough investigation into the situation. We have found that there were some misinterpretations." Now, this is someone else by a third party that led to these inaccurate reports. "We have taken steps to ensure that this third party cannot mislead other artists in relation to our event." So someone who is basically not affiliated with Paris Blockchain Week is the third party, or with Claire Silver. And they have taken steps to, so whatever that means. We are all lucky to be working at the dawn of a fantastic era for creators, powered by blockchain technology, and our top priority remains to serve our customers and communities to the best of our ability, and we are committed to doing so with honesty and integrity. So they have finally replied, and I think they took an extra day because they want lawyers to do it, is my theory on that. And finally, and I think we can finally put this to bed here, finally, Variety who put out the original, remember Matt Donnelly from yesterday who wasn't happy with the Super Chief tweet? So Variety has, I'll just show you the updates here to get their side of it. And then we should have basically a comprehensive view of what happened here. And then it's kind of, again, it's not the biggest story in the world, but we've kind of gone down this road, so we kind of got to finish it up. Friday, so first on Friday, there was an update. The Louvre has contacted Variety with information that Claire Silver will not exhibit in the space, so we already know that. This story previously said Silver would show her work as part of an exhibition. So the Louvre contacted Variety and said this is untrue. Second update, Variety spoke with artist Claire Silver. The artist said she was approached by a representative from Paris Blockchain Week. So this also goes against what Paris Blockchain Week just said. Now, representative could be the third party, though, which is maybe where things started to, again, it's just communication. This is all a big communication snafu. An event featuring art exhibitions and keynote speakers for the digital space. The representative, she says, offered her a slot to exhibit at the Louvre via a company named Superchief. So this is probably either the agency or the third party. Silver accepted, and sometime in the days surrounding the offer, signed for representation at WME. As we said from the very start, a separate story. And that shows that WME is not actually the representative, and perhaps not the agency. Her agent, Chris Jackaman, a partner at the talent agency that is held with the publicly traded Endeavor, could not be reached after days of trying to clarify the situation. Silver said she is considering legal action, this was the second update, against Paris Blockchain Week and Superchief for the misrepresentation of the offer to show in the Louvre. A representative for the Louvre confirmed Silver's work would not be exhibited. So then as we were supposing yesterday, legal action was being considered by Claire, at least that was a suggestion, the intimation of the tweet, the suggestion, what you could infer from what was said. And then finally, the final update, as they say. We're all on the final update here, as am I, Variety. A WME spokesman responded to Variety saying, quote, "It's unfortunate that a third party misrepresented the details of this opportunity to our client, Claire Silver. We fully support Claire and believe that she acted with integrity throughout this process." So the third party is being, and it could be just some person. And maybe that's why they're just keeping it, okay, let's not destroy this third party, which may just be some person. And it was probably just a big misunderstanding, maybe someone overreaching, whatever the case may be. That is your story, my friends. And I think we have finally tied the bow on this. Let's keep our fingers crossed on that one. But kind of fascinating to see how this all played out. And I think that's it. I mean, unless, of course, if something else happens. So continuing on, back to the art. Notes on Camp, Susan Sontag, published 1964. So here it is. And because we're in let me just go here. We're at, and I believe it's Camp Creme. Here it is. Mikey Wilson's used NFTs here. So Camp Creme is happening. So as Mikey Wilson announced a couple of weeks ago, and this is based on this essay by Susan Sontag, and you can just put a search for Susan Sontag on Camp, and you'll find this essay right near the start. So I haven't read this, but I'd like to. But I brought up a couple of definitions here. It's pretty short, so I'm going to try and read it for next show. But here is a couple of just very quick definitions. Camp is an aesthetic style and sensibility that regards something as appealing because of its bad taste and ironic value. So kind of kitsch is another word. Kind of cliche is perhaps another word, sometimes kind of corny. Definition of camp, a sensibility that revels in artifice, stylization, theatricalization, irony, playfulness, and exaggeration, rather than content. So there is your kind of Cole's notes, your quick notes on what camp is. So I thought this was kind of a cool tribute to Mikey Wilson. This is by Fendel, and I'll just show you part of it.
You bet you are. Welcome to Mikey Wilson's Used NFT Emporium, home of the original Tezos blockchain starter kits, just $15.95.
Kind of campy.
Meet Mikey, the owner.
There's Mikey Wilson. Okay. So anyways, moms are watching here. So anyways, so this is it. So Camp Creme. And this is the, if you put this hashtag, you'll be included. So Martin Joe kind of has like, I would say like the title work here of Camp Creme with the big kind of billboard looking thing with the, leopard print background, probably kind of campy. And here it all is. So kind of masterfully done by Martin Joe. You even see some pink flamingos. Again, camp. So this is an open edition. 10 have been minted. Only 3 Tezos. And how much longer do we have? Another 3 days, so you have time to pick this up. Kinky Camp Creme by Martin Joe. And here are some of the others, and I brought up a few. This just got, Jake Studios just put one up, and their Sabato put up one. We'll take a look at that. Anyway, so you can just click on Camp Creme, and you see here, and there are a couple, and there's Uxine with what looks like a Tamagotchi. Again, we'll look closer at that as we run through another episode here. Yeah, so here they are so far. So a couple of pages of works, and let's just look. So Uxine with a Tamagotchi, edition of 11. I think that's a Tamagotchi. Correct me if I'm wrong out there. And with some, maybe earrings through it, I'm guessing, some piercings, and accept, and everything. This is really beautifully done too. The messaging sign here to show that someone is typing, and just some beautiful stickers. So anyways, just makes it look so easy, having so much fun, in quotes. Uxine, the Isolationist put one out. So I'm going through some of the Camp Creme, as you can see here. Again, you can tell from the tag, so Isolationist. I was Pepe the Frog before the transformation. So I guess Pepe maybe is considered camp in this case, and kind of a cool Isolationist work here. Very cool. And this is available for 30. Is that on secondary? Just one left. And yeah, they're selling on primary. There's only one left from the Isolationist. And Sabato chimes in, a Lambo angel came to me. So Sabato put a remarkably campy, I think Sabato is like definitely in the running for the campiest here with this Lambo and this kind of like gold-plated Lambo and this kind of angelic figure, and almost looks like a religious type writing here, but make the heart of the people fat and make their ears heavy and shut their eyes. So what is this from? Oh, it's from Isaiah. So anyways, a lot of humor here, and yeah, so exactly. It looks like a religious, like one of those things you'd find in a store. Nothing against religion here, but, kind of a cliche thing you might find in one of those stores where you buy, a portrait of the Virgin with a, saying on it, a Lambo angel came to me. So quite brilliant. I think this is an edition of 15. I thought it was an open edition, but it's an edition of 15 for $4.40. Or is it an open edition? Not clear to me. Maybe it's an open edition. Anyways, either way, it's a hilarious satire there. Board Me Social Camp by Board Me Social Club. So another pink flamingo, and here on the wallpaper, and this is probably someone famous, and a neon sign, the Bang Bang Bar, and there's some leopard print. So you start to get an idea, really, of what camp means, just from these visuals here, don't you? So we are learning things every day, whether it's, triumphal arches or camp or curatorship. I am trying to make the best of all our time here. Kappa Camp. So maybe some campy colors here. And here's some leopard print. And just, there is just a lot here. More leopard print and a risque clothing item here and all sorts of stuff. And maybe campy colors. And so anyways, really fun and a testament to the community here. On Tezos, the Pope of Trash, piece for the Camp Creme. Like, isn't this great? And here's Daniel W. And I think this is, again, the Pope of Trash, I think is what he called it. And another flamingo here. So pretty nice work, actually, edition of 15. And Clown Vamp got in on the action. Pink mountains are the best mountains. So kind of that flamingo pink. And so anyways... Very cool work. We're going to look at more Clown Vamp's work. This is from the Detective Jack Season 2. So this is AI. And continuing on, another one by Ollie Izakowski, also known as Paulo Muloki, Camp de la Television. So I thought this was quite a beautiful work, actually. I quite liked this old TV, and just there's something about this work that I thought was really working. And there's creme, no signal, and some white noise here. Very cool work. And here's another one by Ollie Izakowski. It almost looks similar. Again, same artist, but this one is digital, and this one looks physical. Acrylic paint here. And painted with my favorite brush in 2 strokes. The first and the last. Now that is art and culture is what I would tell you, is what I would say. Well, it seems a little hard to believe that this was made with 2 strokes, Mr. Izakowski, but it's quite a good-looking work, isn't it? I'd say a very good-looking work, so very interesting. At auction for 5, edition of 1. How much time do we have on this? 3 days, so you have time to make a bid. There's already a bid. Brushstrokes deconstructed. Continuing, maybe that is 2 brushstrokes put into Photoshop. More camp. So we're really getting a sense of camp here with these glasses. This is from Shirley Preston, Corporal Von Campington, made for the Camp Creme event, Midjourney in Photoshop. So, and again, more camp here. So a wonderful, again, not only a testament to the community, but a testament to the imagination of the artists here. It's quite impressive, and they're all kind of pretty interesting, good-looking works. EdgeQ comes in on the action. In a bear market, don't forget to curb your FUD. Art survives on Tezos, even Larry David and the gang know you have to curb your FUD, so more Camp de la Creme here. And there is Larry David, and I assume these are 2 comedians here as well. I am not sure, but anyways, so the camp continues, and there's some leopard print being glitched out in the background. Pretty funny. And here, Sky Goodman, not to be outdone, Hulk Hogan's Basketball League. And so I think you could call Hulk Hogan pretty campy. And there he is in AI, and actually a pretty cool work, if you ask me. So Sky Goodman joins the action, created specifically for the Camp Creme event. And finally, I think this is the last one, I'm the Astra, Hermit Wintour. So that looks like Anna Wintour, with at the Pepe Gala, so maybe referring to the Met Gala and all the dresses that come out. And so Anna Wintour is Pepe the Frog, so lots of camp there. So anyways, I love it. Edition of 1 and at auction for 55 Tezos. Actually, there is one more. I think this is from Ed Merola's secret account here. At least what I think is that it kind of looks like Ed Merola's secret account here. Pixel Camp Creme, so slider. I mean, it has all the fingerprints of Ed Merola on there, doesn't it? So edition of 22, only 2 Tezos. Maybe not so secret account anymore. And yeah, mints there like once every couple of months or so. Moving on to the works of the moment. So Yuri J has minted this. I think this is from a month ago. Okay, actually 2 months ago now. I don't know if we've seen this. Anyways, I guess Yuri J posted this. Anyways, it's a great looking work, and we'll look at it again. Octopo Maki. And the reserve price of 0.42. And so anyways, cool work on Super Rare from Yuri J. Let's just take a quick look and see if anything else has been minted here. Super Rare, the reason the show was a little slow getting out was actually I had to change I had tried to open too many windows, too many tabs in Super Rare, and then it just blocked me, so I had to use my phone for internet here. So Crash is the latest, and we have looked at that. So here's the latest. It's looking good, though, the whole page from Yuri J. Continuing on, Gloomtube. So referring to the January 6th events in the U.S., capital punishment, another satire here. Let's see what's going on. Gloomtube released yesterday, or early this morning. And so, of course, referring to that news event from at least two or 3 years ago now. And pretty gruesome, actually. You have people raiding the Capitol. It actually looks like the White House more than the Capitol, which is kind of interesting. And what looks like a police officer's arm here. So another dark work from Gloomtube. Let's just see what he's selling for. He's raised the prices on primary, and he might as well. He's Gloomtube, and why give all the money to the flippers? So you might as well. And so anyway, edition of 20. So it makes a quick 400 Tezos, and so that's a quick $500 almost these days. Actually, it probably is $500. Let the good times roll. So this is interesting, right? So Gloomtube posted this, interestingly, and with no text here, but you see kind of a remix. I thought this was really interesting. And with this kind of fuzzy filter or whatever it is, treatment that we've been seeing on Foundation. So just kind of interesting to see that. Again, I'll go back to here, and then we go here. So interesting. Let the good times roll. And you see here, it almost looks like Gloomtube is working with photocopying, and here you have some ants, kind of mysteriously. So interesting to see this. Let's just quickly try and open this large. See what I'm saying? It kind of looks like perhaps Gloomtube is traveling through the mediums. This looks like physical detritus, for lack of a better word. That almost it's been printed and maybe scanned and then maybe treated or something. That's what it looks like. I mean, who knows? Interesting. Bazaya reappears on the scene with fake whale. The style Chico. And so we have a guy on it. So another person I don't know with some Bazaya art here, and insert art please in the other frame. I love what's going on through the door here. Magritte-esque with the clouds in the background. And a skateboarder coming in with his wonderful pants and just beautiful treatment, the continued evolution of Bazaya, and the beautiful wallpaper. So a really, really nice treatment here from Bazaya, edition of 10. I don't think it's gone for sale yet. Rorich is out there trying to make offers, but they're not being accepted. I even love the little details here, like the plug-in, the outlet. This is an artist, actually, who reached out to me, Yagiz Ilmaz from Turkey. And he has a couple of new works here. Here's a ear. And I kind of like the surrealist properties of this one, so that was interesting. And there was another one. This is called Disappear 0.15 ETH. And here was another one. So anyways, yeah, feel free to reach out. I don't always show because I have to keep these to a limited amount, and I can't simply just show everyone and everything, but feel free to reach out and send your work. And just because I don't show right away doesn't mean you're not on the radar. I'll put it on the radar as far as everything there for what that's worth. The Metadata of Death, a fantastic title. So anyway, some skulls going down, a stairwell here with some security cameras, reserve of 0.2 and just minted. So hello, Yagis. And this was interesting. Dan Control, messy, just a few chairs. And they look like office chairs. I almost feel like, well, I was going to say this could almost go in the camp, but not quite. These are office chairs and different chairs because there looks like there's wooden chairs and then combining them with the lawn chairs. Really interesting concept as always from Dan Control. Edition of 1, sold for 80 within an hour, within 40 minutes, 45 minutes. So that's pretty awesome. $100. Not bad from Dan Control. And look at rustic digital art. You gotta love the boldness of the experimentation because he keeps challenging. I think I started yesterday's show with, the artist. Hopefully, the artists keep challenging us, and like this is what I'm talking about. This is not easy. if you ask me. Like, you kind of recoil when you look at this at first. But that is not like the collectors. So combining photography with giant kind of pixels here, cropped Mario, and, it kind of offends our sensibilities a little bit, but it's just, we have to credit Rustic Digital Art's spirit of experimentation here. And there's a humor here as well. So the collector looked at all three here, smile, and we have, Mario out here. Again, what I'm tempted to call just kind of outrageous work here. And that's why I'm showing it. It's like, it's not easy to do this and to mint it. And it takes a certain amount of courage because, some people, this one's kind of funny, plumber battles, and maybe, I don't know, maybe there were some issues that they had to fix at the house here. I'm not sure if this guy wants to be photographed, and even just like a blurry photo. I mean, the whole thing is kind of outrageous. It's selling, too, to his credit and to the credit of this scene. Okay? Like, let's look at the other one here. Yeah, they're selling for 15 Tezos each for these one-of-ones. So, again, this is where this NFT scene, because at first we might go, what the heck is going on here? But then you go, you know what? You know what this feels like? Is a contemporary art gallery. That's what it starts to feel like. So, interesting. Interesting. And I mean, if you read that Art News article, like, you get the sense that the NFT scene is kind of seen as its own community, somewhat. That has bled in a little bit into contemporary art. So anyways, it's all just really interesting. I love this piece, Tokyo Vacation by Kurt Hustle Collective. So Terry V and J&K look like they're in Tokyo. And that just, like, speaking of FOMO, I am feeling the FOMO of not being on this trip, because that looks like the funnest trip ever. I think Haiti Rocket would want to be on that trip too, and that would make it even funner. Wanted. So anyways, Tokyo Vacation. I'm not sure if I picked one up, but I'm dying to, for a Tezos edition of 97. We'll be right back in 604,800 seconds. So I thought this was brilliant. A nice surprise for a couple of reasons from Cap'n. Of course, Cap'n put out the sun and the moon, and then in black and white, and then puts this eclipse with red, and then keeps the movement, the animation, again, for lack of a better term, just in the, I think you call that the corona? Is that what you call it? Of the eclipse. So the sun shall be turned to darkness and the moon to blood, the eclipse. Really cool work. I assume that that just went for sale. A small edition there of 15. That's such a cool little series there. And here's a bonus work of Satellitenstadt from Popple, Satellite City, if I understand the title properly. And again, so a bonus work from this very, again, edgy kind of pixel art work, experimental, which has been embraced by the community here. Edition of 25, gone. Now, these probably, I believe, went to the people who owned all four of the originals. So there you have it. And also Green Ginger, who we showed yesterday. Here's another work, Adam. So a nice kind of pixelated version, a pixel art treatment of a scientific, portrayal of an atom. I wonder if this is up to date, because it looks like who is the guy that discovered the atom? It's off the tip of my tongue here. Let's look at this very quickly. I know this show is going long here. Who discovered the atom? This is very important because you should know this name and I should have this name. Not Democritus, sure, 20th century science here. This is an important thing to know. Okay, Rutherford. It's Rutherford. There it is, Rutherford. I said it right before I saw it. Rutherford. You almost wonder if that was reptilian, if I saw it on a certain level before I saw it. There you go. Is it Ernest Rutherford? I believe. Yeah, so anyways, what does it say here? Rutherford status? Yeah, okay. Let's just put Rutherford, so we get the first name here. Ernest Rutherford. Postulated the nuclear structure of the atom, discovered alpha and beta rays, and proposed the laws of radioactive decay. He received the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1908. This is what this looks like to me, and is a Rutherford type atom, but I'm not sure. We'd have to, but anyways, so there you go, a little bit of science here. Tom Bombadil with a cool pixel artwork, The Garage. So anyways, pretty cool, and there is the signature there, the engine is coming out. So keeping it interesting, nice composition. Again, kind of has the feeling of something that'd be found in like a 1940s pulp, you know, those kind of illustrations. Stip and Pixel with a couple of experimental works as well. Prism for Wonder, a maze of vibrant colors and intriguing architecture. So just really interesting experimentation here. Looks like a building, right? Edition of 5 for 5 Tezos, very low edition. Here's another one, Prism for Empowerment. So a very interesting artist who actually probably doesn't get the attention they deserve. Stip and Pixel here. Let me see. Yeah, these are really interesting works here. Put out a lot of one-of-ones for only 10 Tezos and has a great series. I wonder if we can find it really quickly here. Yeah, this series here for like a really interesting pixel artist here, right? You know, just limited colors and everything. Yeah. Anyways, Stip and Pixel. Look at that. Buy for 3 Tezos, edition of 15. Continuing on, Edmarola with a one-of-one for 90. So totally experimental. This is on the main account here. And what is this called? Yeah, again, edgy rider. I mean, it's hard not to see, you know, quote unquote fine art here. We are being challenged. Okay, like we're seeing a lot of challenging work here. Even this wild sort of, you know, diamond-like patterning here of the pixelation. So very edgy. Rider. Cool work from Dia Science and Glitchtown Arcade. Now, Glitchtown Arcade, of course, works with the Nintendo ROMs, which you can sort of see in the frame here. A very cool idea. And I assume Dia Science, if I'm pronouncing that right, is in the middle. I don't think we've looked at this one because this was just minted exactly yesterday. So another part of the Bone Glitch project, their collaboration, LB. Where do we go from here? Another kind of cool work from LB, almost reminiscent of that ballerina twisting around here. My favorite LB work, if you're looking for one, I'll show you very, very quickly. I know this show is going on a little long, but you have to see this. I call it a Tezos masterpiece. Oh, ballet dancer. There it is. Daydreaming Ballet, and what a title, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, this is probably my favorite glitch work. I mean, I don't want to say that because there are many, but this one, let's see if we can get it loading properly here. Yeah, like this is a spectacular work, if you ask me. Just, you know, we were talking about how sometimes you make a great work and it's hard to emulate that. Like this is kind of one of those works that just hit. And it's not less like you can go the next day and go, okay, I'm going to do another one of those. It's brilliant. So this is just a stunning, stunning work. Buy now for 90, edition of 11. One of the early works I picked up on Tezos. The first LB work. A new work from Antonio Love's Ace of Crystals. Cool title. Ace of Crystals. So another surreal drawing, for lack of a better term, illustration from Antonio Love's. Big shout out. And look at this interesting sun and even the dots coming from the sun. Just a beautiful work. So anyways, kind of a landscape with this, you know, strange hand that is coming out of kind of a fog or cloud with a star. So anyways, beautiful surreal illustration. Glam Prosperity, edition of 15 for only 5 Tezos, which is a good deal for Antonio Love's. Flora Marquez with a new work, of course. And big shout out to Flora. Thank you for the comment again. A woodpecker in the backyard tree was the best gift of the day. So the work of the day here. And again, just having a lot of fun here from someone who will be here for the long run, Flora Marquez. Manidal, who does the tarot cards that we've been admiring, has a collaboration here in kind of Manidal's older, I don't want to say older style, but other style that's more illustrative. Again, working with the cats a lot. Let me get some volume here for you. Let's see if it loads up. Here we go. We shall see if it loads up. Here we go. Beautiful music with the collaborator. We'll look at the collaborator's name. quite a piece that just released. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It's actually beautiful music. Who did that? Gecko? Amir Gecko. So how cool is that? At the risk of everything, we're going to, and they're Amir Gecko, digital artist in AI art, and clearly a brilliant musician. So music producer, there you go. So give Amir a follow. Very cool. Hexos.tez, brutalism. Just an interesting abstract, isn't it? Simple but interesting, and I like it creates different space. So very interesting, very interesting work, as simple as it is. Very interesting. Brutalism. Open Edition is a collection of open editions that celebrates and explore new challenges of op art. Yeah, you do see, because if you look at this piece here, let me just show you very quickly. You see the space that's created when you just look at this space here. But then you go back here and you look at the one underneath and the space is completely different, yet these share the same shape right here. And then you can look at them both together, right? So op art. Very cool. This is just a piece. I don't know who it is because someone was experimenting with putting different characters. I thought I'd love to know who this artist is. If anybody knows, feel free to leave a comment. Really nice piece there. This was put by Hands Up. Change the font so I can concentrate on the images. And okay, and then here is Georgie. See if there's music on this. Nope. So another beautiful work by Georgie. Kind of a sculptural, animated abstract. It almost looks photographic, right? So pretty cool, but illustrative too. Quite a bit going on. I really like how Georgie is just sticking to this very kind of narrow focus and really exploring it. Georgie family business, very low reserve, 0.1 ETH. I'm a big fan. Like putting out those Peloponnesian war works at 0.1 because it gets the auction going and then you can talk about it and then maybe that gets other people who are interested. It's great to move work. It's just a wonderful thing as an artist. Porta Malmar, one of our favorite collage artists, and kind of putting out some Ed Ruscha-like works, and I'll show you Ed Ruscha in a second, Ruscha, while you free yourself, free others. And so interesting experimentation here. Eye in the hand, and then some very digital circles here. And collage number 667B, and here's another one. While you free yourself, free others, same message, one of ones, an interesting crop here. So I like that, kind of gives it just makes it interesting, gives it an edge. And so here's Ed Ruscha, and there's Ed Ruscha actually right there, really small, you can see him. So you recognize, I'm sure, his work from he's a famous pop artist who puts, this is actually, I brought this one up because it's J.G. Ballard. So Ed Ruscha, I think he might have actually been friends with Ballard. So you see the intermixing between the literary and the visual arts, the literary scene and the visual arts. And even Ballard didn't even like the word literary, but between writers and artists, okay? The music from the balconies nearby was overlaid by the noise of sporadic acts of violence. I believe that is the first line from High Rise by J.G. Ballard, which is a hilarious, although dark and edgy work. Viewers be warned, or readers be warned. Anyway, here's Ed Ruscha. So kind of a bit of a Ed Ruscha homage here, I would argue, I would maintain. Look, this is a beautiful Ed Ruscha, though. If there's one I wanted, I think I'd want that one. And here's another just interesting collage from Porta Malmar, edition of 1 for 10 Tezos. So playing with a few different things here. Again, liking to contrast these digital, kind of making collage new, because working with these very digital shapes, this is digital collage, not just collage of physical things, because you can't make these perfect circles and perfect lines in the physical world, at least not easily. This is pretty interesting. Look at this. So this is Kika Nikolela and Mika Aladef. And look at this. I mean, I feel like we're seeing, no one to look under the dress there. That was accidental, my friends. This is a family program. Anyways, here is a beautiful, beautiful work. I mean, it's stunning. This is like, you feel like you're going to see the future of fashion here. of the future of the catwalk. So Wake Up Doll. Now, did this sell out? Yeah, for 15. Pretty reasonable to FAIC AI Fashion. Shout out to them. Sabato first on the scene there. Very cool. John Cates, all-star cast here. Again, just stunning. And then look at this. I mean, you almost wondered if the same artists were involved, but I don't think so. So Seafoam, just an account on Twitter, Spring Flowers collection now available on Decentraland Marketplace. Let's see. Now the rendering, there we go. Here's a better rendering. So just like, you feel like you're seeing the future of the catwalk, right? Because it's actually, like modeling is going to get disrupted here because, I mean, you get the sense of more it being about the clothes than anything. And where you could actually, like, it seems like the best way to actually present clothing. How are we doing for time here? I got to run. Okay, so we're doing great here, though. What a fascinating bunch of work we're looking at there. Venta, let's float away. So Venta and AI, and just doing very interesting AI work here. Very, very, very interesting. I love these kind of surreal figures. Has a very Dali Autumn Cannibals feel to it. Edition of 10 for 8 Tezos. Mopi Wellington, inspiration, a heartfelt thank you. Almost looks slightly more photographic than the other works by Mopi Wellington, I think, Mopi Wellington, if I'm not mistaken. Interesting floor down there. So AI, and continuing on. My mic just busted, and I tell you, it's trying to tell me keep these shows shorter, and I am listening very closely. Look at how beautiful this is. This is by Lily Illo. So we saw this posted on Twitter as we run to wrap up here. But look at how beautiful just the colors bleeding in here is. And so an AI work by Lily Illo, who is an artist that makes AI art, as she likes to say, just very cool. So it has been minted. And an offer of 200 was in. It has been canceled. But so anyways, clearly a market for that beautiful work. Clown Vamp, continuing the Detective Jack series. So I think we're in season 2 here, an overlook. And I just thought this was pretty nice work here, right? And of course, Clown Vamp contributed to the Camp Creme event from earlier here. So anyways, very, very cool here. And kind of a 1950s California sort of feel to it. All of it kind of has a bit of a pulp feeling to it, as you can see here, like a detective pulp, which seems to go very well. All of this kind of pulp imagery, we should look at some of those, but not today because we are going long. Perhaps an overreaction, so just another interesting, again, I think Clown Vamp calls it a visual novel. Very interesting term. Actually, the first series I did of paintings called Futures and Options, I called that a visual novel, a series of 12 works there. I never finished it because they were taking a year each one, and I realized for me personally that became a failed business model. Clown Vamp is not, he's got a very good business model. He's doing fabulous. So here's just more beautiful work. Interesting colors, interesting palette by Clown Vamp. Downtown Cultists and The Woman in the Hat. So you kind of get the sense, again, of a mystery of some kind, a detective novel, and just some, looks like stills from a movie. And again, interesting colors. So everything fusing here, movies, novels, and visual art. And I think we have another, this reminds me of like an impressionist, like a Monet at the beach or something, right? You could almost have the woman with the umbrella here, but with slightly different colors, but very interesting, beautiful setting and scene looking for Jack. And this work, I'm glad we came to this. I almost started with this. This is a wonderful work, Home Office by Soom. This is beautiful. 1 Tezos, buy for 50. Part of a home office series, so who can't relate to that these days? At least a lot of people can, let's put it that way. This is a brilliant series, and it's gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous. Again, remember we were talking about the kind of the white borders and white margins? Look at how effective it is here. White is a strange color that it really, when it works stunningly well. And Agor posted this. Andrzej, by Rafał Dominik, one of the most popular young generation artists in Poland. So Agor NFT. Interesting artist, if you ask me. Very interesting. I feel like maybe I've seen it before, but I'm not sure. And that's your show, everyone. Thanks for joining me, and hopefully I see you on Twitter Spaces tomorrow. Purple Drank Frazetta will be in the house, and that'll be awesome. I'll talk to you then.